friends. How are you? It is Sunday. It is Labor Day weekend here in the States, which just means, excuse me, it feels like it is the last breath of summer going out. That's what always Labor Day feels like. When I was young, Labor Day signaled that it was the end of the summer for school kids, and we would go back to school after Labor Day. Now I think kids go back to school as early as July or August. I don't know what the hell's happening anymore. Obviously, I don't have kids, so I don't keep track of what's happening out there. Hey, glad to have anyone who is going to listen to this. I wanted to talk a little bit about, hey, Tom, good to see you, buddy. Just a little bit about the power of our story. You know me, I love a good story. And I also recognize that there are some great tips that we can help ourselves with when we are trapped in our own stories. And this, I mean, honestly, this last week, uh, I've been kind of trapped in my own stories a little bit. I've been not doing great self care and not doing the things I normally do. Stopped exercising, stopped writing in my journal, really stopped connecting with people else, people that I, as friends. Is that true? No, that's not really true. But anyway, can see that I just really haven't been doing the steps to take care of myself. And doing that, I also got really conscious and present that to the stories that were running in the background. And boy, were they kind of ugly stories. And I think we all have those ugly stories that are running in the background. And one of the best things I think we can do is practice the art of presence, not only in our external world, but to the stories we are telling ourselves. For instance, and you don't have to worry about me, I'm fine. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, exactly. Again, over and over again. I was out walking my dog and I started to tell myself a story. And this, this is clear signs of depression. That's all it is. But I was telling myself a story. It's like, oh gosh, if I got COVID and got sick, it wouldn't be terrible. Like I would, I'm like, I mean, I've had a good life. It's fine. That those kind of stories uh, of ideation of ending the life ending and all of that. Not that I was going to end my life, but if I got sick, it's fine. Uh, and then I was like, oh my gosh, Deanna, what kind of story is that? And I was finding, data to back up those stories around, I'm single, my friends are all doing great things and blah, 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 blah. Boy, what miserable little stories I was telling myself. And I could tell what kind of impact it was having on my body of I again kind of just making myself smaller, shrinking my world even closer and tighter into itself. And so one of the best things we can do when we are writing our stories, because here's how I think about it. You missed me on. Thank you, Tom. Uh, Here's what I think we get practice on is that we have a story about our past. It is the story that we've written that is our historical biography, right? So remember that show that used to be on A&E, Biography, and producers would go in and dig deep into the lives of the person's story that they were telling. Well, we do that too, but we don't actually do such a great job as the producers. We usually come up with one version of the story. We don't fact check it and we start telling that version as if it was our only truth. You have to remember that truth in this context, outside of science, let me just say that, but truth is just a fine line of perspective. And it can be a truth to you in that moment. But if we really pause and think about the stories we want to tell ourselves that make us more alive, more enriched, more stronger, more capable, we have to be cognizant of the stories that we're telling ourselves, specifically around our historical biography, around all the things that got us to this point. Because we can do a heavy burden or a heavy job of focusing on only our pain that got us here. Which is why one of the things I love to do with my clients is have them do a life timeline And think about there are things that they remember from their life that got them to this point, but how often they focus on the negative things versus the positive things that have gotten them to this point. So, one of the things we do is focus on our historical autobiography. But the story that I was just telling you about taking a walk and creating the story of like, oh gosh, if I got sick, no big deal, da 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 da. Just whispers. It's again just that slow dance with depression that has happened for me over the last, 18 months with COVID. I'm fine. I think we all go through these experiences. But those are what I would call are my clickbait headlines. I create these headlines about what's happening to me in this moment that can send me down into a spiral and really send myself down. Just like if we get caught into a headline or a clickbait headline, and all of a sudden 40 minutes later, I can question, why the hell am I reading this article? I don't care about Tom Cruise. Why am I doing this to myself? And it's the same kind of thing with these little small stories that pop into our head that we can hold on to, and we start spiraling out. And then 40 minutes later, we're thinking, gosh, I feel terrible. What's going on with me? I can't seem motivated. I can't seem to do anything. And that's because we've been caught into our clickbait headlines that are happening right here in this moment. And we haven't just really given ourselves a check to say, wait, is this an article? Is this something I really want to be telling myself? I love it, Evelyn. Evelyn, share with me in the chat box. What is that? I think I was just having one earlier as well. Um, but that idea of how do we recognize that we're telling ourselves headlines when we start spiraling out and thinking, this is terrible, this is awful. Like that moment, those moments that I was having outside while I was out walking my dog, I had to just really in the moment become present. And that's the old deal. Yeah. Cujo, that's my next door neighbor, if you can hear that, Tom. Uh, that idea of being present to what is the story I'm telling myself and asking myself in that moment, hey, is this a headline that is actually helping me? Or is it sending me into a spiral? And more often than not, it is one that is sending me down a spiral. So, how can I get better at writing the daily headlines of my life? And that's one of the things that I would ask you and to think about. If you want to practice this, get better at the stories you tell about your life. For 7 days, at the end of the day, write out the headline of your life and really focus on how can I make this the most positive Ted Lasso like headline I could. Even if it feels like it's been a really difficult day, what's the headline that you could create? Exactly, Tom. Tom says here, and I think that's really true. Try talking to yourself like you're talking to a friend. I love that, Tom. Very true. And making sure those headlines are headlines we want out of our life. And maybe it's a headline that would be something along the lines of those headlines that I see from the Dodo or Animal Planet, the ones that make me want to click because they're so uplifting, they're so Ted Lasso, they're so positive in the moment that of course I want to see that. So my friends, that is today's um, today's Sunday Moffat Talk, and it's the idea about just remembering that we are constantly writing our stories, our historical biography, what brought us to this day. We rarely fact check it. And we are constantly in the process of writing clickbait headlines that can send us down a spiral. And how can we find a way to create headlines of our moments that actually inspire us to be more open hearted, vulnerable, and trusting of the world? That's a tough one. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great day weekend. Oh, I got to see this headline. Let's see this. Evelyn says, breaking, Evelyn gets a new opportunity. Will she muck it up? Oh my gosh. Evelyn, can I just say in this, there's no mucking up a great opportunity. There's only great learning. That's what I would say in that. And I can't wait to stay tuned, Evelyn. I can't wait to hear about anything that you have coming on in your life or coming into your life that you're creating. You're always out there creating new things. All right, my friends. I thank you for stopping by and being here with me. Thank you for engaging. And whenever you watch this or wherever you are, thank you for being willing to question the stories you're telling yourself. I hope you have a great night. Bye, everybody. I love it. Thanks, Evelyn. Thanks, Tom. Isaac, the bartender. Yes.